Del Lamagna joins us. He's a candidate for Congress in New York 19. He's running as an independent. That's interesting. Del is an interesting guy in a lot of different ways. He's also Tweezer Man. So Del, before we get into your run, which is fascinating, what is Tweezer Man?
Oh, Tweezer Man is the world's finest eyebrow tweezers, which I invented by accident 35 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So most women know who I am.
Okay, and so did that turn into a big business? It sounds like it might have.
It turned into a rather big business. First of all, it was successful, and right from the start. And I did it in an unusual way. I practiced responsible capitalism. I made my employees part owners of the company. They got 20% of it. And when I sold the company, they kept their jobs and walked away with $12 million to split amongst themselves. It was quite a run. And
damn. All right.
So that's that story.
Yeah, I wish I knew Tweezer Man back in the day. How many employees did you have that split that $12 million?
In America, I had 212. I also had a factory in India, where I had two other partners, an Indian and an Italian. And in that factory, which we also sold, we couldn't make the employees owners. So instead, we gave them a year's salary as a bonus. Plus, they kept their jobs, which freaked them out. I mean, a year's salary in India, and we had to do it in cash. Funny story was, in India, the issue of women not being treated equally, not getting the same pay. Well, we paid our women the same, and so we had this event where the men all came together and they were going to quit because the women were making the same amount as they were, and we said to them, "Why do you care? I mean, you got the best job in this area." Well, we really don't care, but everybody's making fun of us. So we got the women together and we said, "Hey, you can't talk about how much money you're making here because not everybody is doing so well, and it's just causing trouble for the guys." So they worked that one out. But when we were giving away a year's salary to everybody, the Indian owner said to me, "We can't give the women a year's salary." And so, why not? He said, "Well, because if you do, either the father or the boyfriend is going to take it from them and be drunk for a year." So the way we worked that one out is we gave them a bond, an 8% bond for 80% of it, and we gave them the rest in cash so that, their father or boyfriend grabs the cash. You wouldn't know that there was another 80% in the bond that, becomes part of their dowry. So Tweezer Man was an incredible, and to this day is an incredible example of the kind of businesses that should exist in our world and exist for the benefit of everyone, not just the shareholders, for the benefit of the workers.
All right, well, that's an excellent example. So now let's turn to politics, which is what you're in now. Why run as an independent and not a Democrat if you're deeply progressive?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm deeply progressive. I would say I'm practical.
Okay.
And to be practical, you have to, the two-party system isn't working. I did everything I could back in the day when we were in 2006, when we were trying to stop the Iraq War, and all us activists were out there doing whatever we could, and we flipped the Congress from Republican to Democrat, both houses, and the Democrats didn't do anything. They didn't stop the war. I was so frustrated by that back then. I actually ran for president in New Hampshire in 2008 just to take the message directly to the people about the situation in Iraq. And since then, I've just lost faith in either party, mostly because of money in politics, and mostly because of what has happened now is the leadership, the speaker, for instance, what is their job? Their job isn't to put bills up and get things done. Their job is to raise money for the party. So I'm running against the two-party system. I'm also running for Hudson Valley Happiness, which is really why I'm running for the district. We live in a great place up here in Hudson Valley, And we're pretty happy, and I want to keep it happy, and I want to make sure that everyone in here is happy. So that's my basic platform, and everything, all the issues can fit under that. You can't really get anything done. So talking about all the things that you stand for and what you want to do, that's fine. It's a nice exercise. That's what the Democrats did. There were 7 of them, and they were great at it, and they had their positions and what they would like to see done. But bottom line, who's going to get it done? In this environment, nothing's going to get done. They couldn't even get those kids, stop them from taking the kids away from their parents because there's a law that requires them to do it. And Congress couldn't change the law or pass some kind of a ruling to stop the enforcement.
You had a unique arrangement with a Democrat in the race. It was Jeff Beals. He was a Justice Democrat that was running in that race. What was that arrangement?
Well, I basically said to Jeff that if he won, I wouldn't run. I would back him. I knew of Jeff from the Iraq War days because I was in Iraq, basically working to negotiate a ceasefire arrangement between the Iraqi insurgents and the coalition forces. And Jeff was on the inside. He was a diplomat trying to help construct an Iraqi government. He was very frustrated by the process because he saw that there was no intention for us to get out of Iraq and stop the war, and he pretty much quit and then moved on. And instead of going to work for Exxon or some company like that, he came to Woodstock here and became a teacher. Real smart guy, and so I looked at all the candidates, and him in particular, I said, well, if he wins, I won't run. And I was hoping he would win because being a member of Congress is no walk in the park. I mean, it's a pain in the butt job, and to me, it's more like doing public service to be willing to go to Congress and put up with it and try to get something done.
Mm-hmm. So he didn't win. Is he backing you now?
Well, he's not backing me publicly, and I wouldn't expect him to. There was another candidate, Brian Flynn, who had he won, I probably wouldn't have run. Actually, after a while, it was so. What's happening now is I'm out collecting signatures, which is a daunting task. I have to get 5,000 signatures. I only need 3,500, but you got to get 5,000 or more. You get more so they can't challenge you and knock you off the ballot to get on the ballot. I have until July 20th to do that. And I'm actually running ads on the radio to get help and hire people. And we got 20 days. We got about 1,200 signatures. So we're on our way. And we'll see what happens. If I don't get the signatures, I'm not running. If I do, then the fun begins.
So Dal, you're a fascinating dude. I like your relative indifference. You're like, well, I mean, if it happens. But I do trust you. I do believe that you will actually try to get money out of politics, trying to clean up the local
personally,
streets.
I could, people, I'm tweezing me, and you must have millions of dollars. How much are you going to put in the race? I'm just funding my startup, but I'm not. This is not about me buying a congressional seat. That is not what's happening here.
Yeah. Do you sometimes wish you had that $12 million back so you could spend it on things like this?
What $12 million?
The one that you gave to the employees?
No way. It was the greatest moment of my life. Holy gosh. You can't believe what it was like when I was handing checks out to my employees. People were buying houses. They were sending their kids to school. They were crying. I was crying. And this happened, I did this in 2004. So this is like, this I was a pioneer there. I think of the American worker as a group should own 10% of the companies that they work for. I think that should be a policy that the government promotes, so that workers who are really the reason why these companies are doing well share in the capital gains at the end. The other thing that I think should happen is that these productivity gains that we see from robots and from AI, these large corporations, what happens? The ownership, the people who own capital makes a lot more money, and what do the workers get? They get laid off. What I'd like to see is I'd like to see the workers share in the success, and instead of laying them off, basically pay workers a 40-hour week for 30 hours of work. Give them 10 hours a week of free time.
Yeah.
One of the crises we have in America is workers don't have any time to spend with their family. And I do this at Icestone. I now have a company in Brooklyn that I'm trying to turn around where we're not down to 30 hours a week, but we give them, the employees, we pay them 40 hours for the 37.5-hour week. So they have a half-hour a day now of free time, and they can come to work a half hour later if they're dropping the kid off to school, or, go home or whatever.
Dal, you're getting carried away now. I'm kidding. No, you sound like a wonderful person. LaMagnaforCongress.com. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but I want everybody to make sure that they've got your website. LaMagnaforCongress.com.
HudsonValleyHappiness.com.
HudsonValleyHappiness.com.
Yeah, that's how they get to me.
Right, and by God, if you worked for Dal, you would definitely be part of the Hudson Valley Happiness. That's for sure. All right, Dal LaMagna.
It rhymes with lasagna.
Okay, there you have it. It rhymes with lasagna on top of everything else. Tweezer Man running for Congress as an independent. Go get him, Tweezer Man.